Gas pressure regulator. The high pressure gases stored as liquid are reduced in pressure and regulated with the help of gas regulators to a lower pressure before they can be distributed through the facility. Gases used in industrial processing such as oxygen, nitrogen, hydrogen, and propane are stored in high pressure containers in liquid form. The high pressure gases from above the liquids are reduced in pressure and regulated with the help of gas regulators to a lower pressure before they can be distributed through the facility. The gas lines may have additional regulators at the point of use. This diagram shows a spring-loaded self-compensating pressure regulator. A spring-controlled regulator is an internally controlled pressure regulator and is shown in figure. Initially, the spring holds the inlet valve open and gas under pressure flows into the main cylinder at a rate higher than it can exit the cylinder. As the pressure in the cylinder increases, a predetermined pressure is reached where the spring-loaded diaphragm starts to move up, causing the valve to partially close. That is, the pressure on the diaphragm controls the flow of gas into the cylinder to maintain a constant pressure in the main cylinder and at the output, regardless of the flow rate. The output pressure can be adjusted by the spring screw adjustment. Request: it is hoped that this session is going to be useful to you. Please press like button. Please subscribe this channel. यह लेक्चर हिंदी में भी उपलब्ध है. This diagram shows weight-loaded self-compensating pressure regulator. A weight-controlled regulator is shown in figure. The internally controlled regulator has a weight-loaded diaphragm. The operation is same as the spring-loaded diaphragm, except the spring is replaced with a weight. The pressure can be adjusted by the position of a sliding weight on a cantilever arm. This diagram shows internal pressure loaded self-compensating pressure regulator. A pressure controlled diaphragm regulator is shown in figure. The internally controlled regulator has a pressure loaded diaphragm. Pressure from a regulated external air or gas supply is used to load the diaphragm via a restriction. The pressure to the regulator can then be adjusted by an adjustable bleed valve, which in turn is used to set the output pressure of the regulator. This diagram shows externally connected spring-loaded self-compensating pressure regulator. Externally connected spring diaphragm regulator is shown in figure. The cross section shows an externally connected spring-loaded pressure regulator. The spring holds the valve open until the output pressure, which is fed to the upper surface of the diaphragm, overcomes the force of the spring on the diaphragm and starts to close the valve, hence regulating the output pressure. Note that the valve is inverted from the internal regulator and the internal pressure is isolated from the lower side of the diaphragm. Weight and air-loaded diaphragms are also available for externally connected regulators. This diagram shows pilot-operated regulator. Pilot-operated pressure regulators can use an internal or external pilot for feedback signal amplification and control. The pilot is a small regulator positioned between pressure connection to the regulator and the loading pressure on the diaphragm. The figure shows such an externally connected pilot regulator. Pressure from output of the regulator is used to control the pilot, which in turn amplifies the signal and controls the pressure from the air supply to the diaphragm, giving greater control than that available with the internal pressure control diaphragm. A slight change in output pressure is required to produce a full pressure range change of the regulator, giving a high gain system for good output pressure regulation. Instrument pilot operated pressure regulator. An instrument pilot operated pressure regulator is similar to the pilot operated pressure regulator but has a proportional band adjustment included, giving a gain or sensitivity control feature to provide greater flexibility in control. This diagram shows an automatic pressure safety valve. Safety valves are fitted to all high pressure containers, from steam generators to domestic water heaters. The valve is closed until the pressure on the lower face of the valve reaches a predetermined level set by the spring. When this level is reached, the valve moves up, allowing the excess pressure to escape through the vent. Request: it is hoped that this session was useful to you. Please press like button. Please subscribe this channel. यह लेक्चर हिंदी में भी उपलब्ध है. This lecture is dedicated to the loving memory of my late parents, Shri Om Prakash Chadha and Srimati Sudarshan Chadha. Maiden name Mohan Gai Suri.